Hello, I'm Alec Kerr, the film critic for the Conway Daily Sun. This week I want to talk about a curious little phenomenon in the 1980s of movie theme songs that had the movie title right in the song title. And this seemed to be a phenomenon that was really pretty prevalent in the 80s. There were a lot of movies that had theme songs like this. And certainly this didn't just start in the 1980s. It did exist before the 1980s. Certainly all the James Bond films had theme songs like this. But it really took off in the 1980s. In the early 80s, you had songs like Night Shift from the movie Night Shift, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High had a theme song. But I think the film that really kicked off this phenomenon in a big way was Ghostbusters, because Ghostbusters was a huge hit. It was everywhere, and it's still everywhere. It's a massive song. And so I think when studios saw how popular that song was, they were like, we need to get our own Ghostbusters. And there was never another song that quite reached the level of Ghostbusters. But there were certainly films that tried. The Never-Ending Story had a catchy theme, and that was one of the bigger, more popular ones. And in a lot of cases, the songs for these films are better than the actual films. A lot of these films have just completely faded out of memory, like Dr. Detroit, which was a vehicle for Dan Aykroyd that they actually thought was going to be a big hit, was going to have a sequel, and the fact the end of the movie even teases a possible sequel that just never came into fruition. But the theme song is fantastic. It is Devo, and I am a big Devo fan, and it is one of their better songs, and it's a lot of fun, very catchy, and if you want to watch the movie, it is on Netflix, and the Devo's theme song is just right there in the beginning, and you could probably stop watching after that. Although there is a great scene with James Brown later in the film, so the music for that film is worth checking out. Then there was Weird Science, Oingo Boingo, for the John Hughes film. And that was a great song, and that was actually probably wound up being Oingo Boingo's biggest hit. And Oingo Boingo was fronted by Danny Elfman, who went on to be a film and TV composer, most associated with Tim Burton. But that is a great song that's definitely worth listening to. Spaceballs had a theme song. But here was the weird thing, though. There were also horror movies that did this. Probably the best example of this is Pet Sematary, which had a really great theme song by the Ramones, which is really appropriate because Stephen King is a big Ramones fan and references them in his books. So that was just a perfect fitting of a book, a movie, a song, like just all synergizing together. But there's just, if you go around Netflix, you can find a lot of these really cheesy B-80s movies, and I stumbled upon one called Terror Vision, and it's actually, as far as campy comedy horror films go, it's pretty good, but the theme song is fantastic. It's got this nice creepy vibe to it, and it's catchy, and I love it. Then there was this awful movie that Jeff Goldblum did called Transylvania 6-5000 that had a really good, opening credits theme song, and it's not even released anywhere. You can't even find it. The only way you can find it is by watching the movie. It is also on YouTube. And the strange thing is this phenomenon really is just contained to the 80s. Like, it ended in the 80s. You really don't see that many other examples of this happening beyond the 80s. Mortal Kombat had a theme song. Rat Race from 2001, it had a theme song like this. But it doesn't happen anymore. Maybe it was kind of just this kitschy thing that happened in the 80s, but I would love to see this come back. Just random films having theme songs like this. It would make me happy. Anyway, come back next week. I'll have another Real Thoughts for you, and thanks for watching.